What is going on, everyone? This is NinjaGeek here, and welcome back to Road to the Best Hero. Remember, the link is in the description for this week to vote for the best tank hero in Overwatch, and we're going to be talking about those in a second, but let's discuss the results from last week. And as you can see on your screen right now, May came in the top with 9 votes. Junkrat was number 2 with 8. Now, these two were very, very close. They each had 8, but I had to wait because I could not have a tie here in this series, so May actually ended up coming out on top as the number 1 defensive hero. But, of course, number 2 is Junkrat, which is also another very popular choice. Then we have Widowmaker, Bastion, and Hanzo. And, unfortunately, Torbjorn did not get any love. No love for Torbjorn, but that's okay. It's all fun and games, and it's good. Now, first week, of course, we had the offensive heroes, and Reaper won that one, so May won this one. And now let's talk about the tank heroes so that we can vote on the best tank hero in Overwatch. So we have D.Va, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Winston, and Zaria for tank heroes. D.Va has her fusion cannons, which are equipped on her mech. They are rotating cannons. They never, of course, run out of ammo, so it's pretty useful because you don't have to reload her fusion cannons. Her light gun is when she's outside of her mech, so if her mech blows up or destroys and she's in her own form, she can use the light gun. That one does have to reload. It does really put out a lot of hot damage, but while she's in her mech, she can also use her boosters and fly around, launch into the air, get away from sticky situations, and her defense matrix will block literally anything that is a projectile coming into it. Her self-destruct is her ultimate, then she could go and self-destruct a bunch of enemies. It's basically a giant bomb, and of course she can call back in the mech after the self-destruct happens. Moving on to Reinhardt, he has his rocket hammer, which allows him to swing a giant hammer at his enemies. It's a melee attack only, of course. He has his barrier field, which will block 2,000 projectile damage, which is really, really good. His charge will allow him to charge forward in a straight line, and he can move a little bit during it. It's kind of hard to control, but he could still move a tiny bit to grab any enemies and put them against a wall. His fire strike uses his hammer and launches a giant fire strike forward that will put out a hit point damage to his enemies. And of course his ultimate, combining with all of his charge and fire strike, is to forcefully shove down his rocket hammer down on the ground and stun all of his enemies. Moving on to Roadhog, he has his scrap gun, which has 2 firing modes, which are the short range and the long range firing modes for, of course, different combat areas. Take a breather will allow him to restore a chunk of his health, and of course that's his, little health canister there, so he can go back and take a breather, if you will. His next is the chain hook, which is the most popular thing about Roadhog. He can catch enemies with the chain hook and yank them towards himself. He could also use it to knock them off of the map, essentially. Like if he's standing over an edge, he can grab the enemy and they will fall to their death. And Whole Hog is his ultimate, in which he uses his scrap gun and just puts a mounted thing on the side of it, and it just shoots scrap everywhere. It shreds the enemies either off the map or away from any objective points. Moving on to Winston, he has his Tesla cannon, which of course he developed himself because he is the scientist in Overwatch. His jump pack will allow him to jump in the air, so he can jump to different locations. It really has a fast cooldown, so he can jump a lot of different places, and of course since he is a monkey, he can pretty much go anywhere. The barrier projector is a shield in which he can put down, and it will protect against any damage that will come in, so if you stand inside, you're not going to get hit, obviously. It has a longer cooldown, and it really destroys pretty fast. And his ultimate is Primal Rage, in which he unleashes the nature of the beast inside himself and just goes on a rampage and smacks every single person away. It's sort of like Roadhog's ultimate, except it's more close up and personal, if you want to think of it like that. Zaria is the last tank that we have here, and she uses her particle cannon. Now this has 2 modes to the particle cannon. She can obviously just use the beam that comes with it for more closer up enemies, and of course then she has the longer range one, which she can use particle balls and shoot 4 of them before she has to reload, and that's for longer range stuff. Her particle barrier is a personal barrier that is used so that she can build up the energy for her particle cannon. The projected barrier is used on her teammates so that her teammates can get her energy for a particle cannon. And then, of course, her ultimate is one of the best ultimates in the game, considered by a lot, because it works so well with so many other ultimates, and that is the Graviton Surge, which will trap enemies inside. Now, some people can get out of the Graviton Surge, but for the most part, her ultimate is really, really good. So that's it for the tank heroes this week. Again, link in the description to vote for this poll. And I will see you on the next Overwatch video. Of course, as NinjaGeek. I'm out. And peace.